Ian Troop. I'm a fly fishing guide, instructor, and competitive angler. I'm going to tie one of the greatest dry flies ever created called the F-fly. All right, so I'm going to tie a staple of a dry fly that, you know, everybody should have in their box, and that's a pretty bold statement, but I'm pretty comfortable saying that one. This is called an F-fly. You may see it by other names, but make no mistake, it is an F-fly. F-fly is a great imitation of a caddis, also in smaller sizes of a midge. So this can go from, 12 plus size all the way down to 22, 25, 26, 28s. You can tie these really, really small. They will catch difficult fish. They have caught fish all over the world. And the best part of it, it's really, really simple. And there's all kinds of little tweaks you can do it. So the real base I think it was created by Hans Frontnick or something like that. That's why it's called an F-fly. I'm going to start with a thread base. Recommend thin thread. So grab your favorite thread, but make sure it's on the thin side. Thin and strong, even better. Tying dry flies, you can tend to get a bulky head. We don't want a bulky head on this fly. It has nothing to do with that. It's just going to get in the way. I'm tying on a 130 BL dry fly hook 14. For those in southern Ontario, 14s, we get a lot of caddis and 14s. Don't be afraid of 12s, but a 16, 18s, this works really, really well. I'm using black thread. You can definitely vary your thread. Olive works really good. You can use other colors. Black, always a staple. I'm going to show you a couple variations of this one, or just talk through them anyways. So I'm going to build a thread base all the way to the back of the hook, and again, we're going to use the hole right just past the hook right to the bend. So the original F-fly was just black thread and an overwing of CDC. I'm going to show you just one little tweak that works pretty good for me. If I can find where I've put my, this one right in front of me. So I have found it right in front of me. So I'm going to use really, really thin pearl ribbing. So this is Mylar number 16 pearl. And this is just to give it a little something. You could, some people put little, like a glow bright tail out the back. You can put a little tail out the back. You can just leave it and it'd be fine. I'm just going to put a little pearl hot spot in the back. So you're just going to try to catch that in. So try to catch that in. Okay, so catch that in. Keep the body relatively thin. And just go a little subtle on this one. Don't go crazy. Just rib a couple times, 3 or 4 wraps towards the hook eye, and make a little pearl butt. Done. That just gives it a little something. Stand out to catch a little bit of a glint. Great for subtle fish. So I can now dub this with hare's ear. I can leave it thread. I can put your ice dub on there as well, like a peacock ice dub, but I'm going to stick with the original. This works really well for me, by the way, just keeping it black, nice black thin body. And what's cool about this fly is the profile is it's going to sink into the water bit, so you get a little bit right in the film, kind of a merger vibe. And you could say that's more of a midge pattern. Fair ball. This would work well as a midge, so don't be afraid of thread bodies and smaller patterns. So now grab some high quality CDC, and I will stress, if there's one investment you make in quality kind of materials, make sure you're getting a pretty high quality CDC, because all the floatability comes from that. So what I've done is taken 2 kind of standard CDC feathers. You can see that. I've laid them on top of each other. You could, if you get into the smaller patterns, 1 is enough. I'm fishing a 14. I'm going to go with 2. You could probably get away with 1. I just feel a little bit better with 2, but don't go crazy. And all I'm doing is just brushing as many fibers as I can towards the top and pinching it about the length of the hook. One mistake people make is they make too big of a wing. So don't go way over the top. You want your wing to be just at the bend of the hook. So right about there. And we're just going to catch that in. Keep it pinched. Make multiple wraps. That's about dead perfect right there. And what I like to do, just because I've had, is put 1 or 2 right in front and then back on top. Just when I trim it, sometimes I lose it. So you're just going to take your scissors, come in at an angle, cut it, leave room for a couple things if you crowded the hook eye. You can just push it back with your thumb and do that. Another little handy tool for those of you who go is Thread Zap. This is for beading. I found this on Amazon. I'm sure there's multiple. Just be careful. Like, so it's this little thing. You press a button, it heats up. Pretty cool when you're tying CDC flies. Danger is I might burn my thread, but you can always just clear the hook eye like this, and you can see it's going to burn it away. So you can always clean up a hook eye. If you start tying CDC flies, pretty handy little trick there. So that's about it. If you really want to clean it up, you could do that. But that is the F fly. And I tend to add a little bit of glue onto this. It's a pretty durable fly overall. Don't be afraid of CDC. Just make sure you've got a really good powder. And so the powders make all the difference now. So there's lots of good ones on the market. Just make sure you get a good one. And that's it. So two ways you could do it here. You can just do a half hitch like this on these flies because I've glued it, or you could do your favorite whip finish, but a couple of half hitches with that glue, good enough. Move on with your life. That there, so you can probably see that little glint when I move it, is a pattern that if in doubt and you have a finicky fish or you need to use as a base pattern to cover anything, will catch fish in almost any situation. That is the F fly.